Ladies and gentlemen, that's not a world of pure imagination, for this is a Fred the Alien Productions podcast.
Oh no. What is?
Some AI bullshit?
Some AI.
Yikes.
AI bullshit. Oh, dear. Cue the music.
I don't know what we're yelling about! We came, we saw, we kicked its ass!
Wait a minute. Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Kind of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're gonna build a time machine into a car, why not do it with some style?
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Boring conversation anyway.
Luke, we're gonna have company! Loud noises!
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, I'm a Kendall Richardson.
I'm a very tired koala, Fulya and
And I am deep in the spice melange, Michael Lister.
And you are now experiencing a podcast called Fred.
Yes, experiencing through it. Yes.
Yes, in words.
Hold on, I'll put my teeth back in. Yes, you are experiencing it through the mediums of everything that we have of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Twitch.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Woo.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh,
No,
yes,
thank
yes.
you.
No,
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you believe, folks, 2 weeks in a row we've got all three hosts on the show. Isn't that lovely?
Who would
Oh,
have
it's
thought?
so good.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so nice. So without any more ado, let's dive in with
Yes.
Fulya.
Hi.
Hello. What have you been watching this week?
I have been watching quite a bit this week. So I actually managed to watch a lot of stuff, including the one thing we'll be talking about. Actually, the two things that we'll be talking about later on. So we'll mention those later on. One thing I will say is Death and Other Details, episode 8 dropped this past week. We are getting to the tail end of season 1. And we apparently know who the murderer is. There is a name. A name has been dropped. We're trying to find out who this person is. And I think we found out who the killer was, but it's really weird in that sense and how it happened and the backstory of it all. And yeah, it's just really good. I'm really enjoying it. 2 more episodes until the end of season 1. And then there's probably going to be some massive freaking cliffhanger for season 2, hopefully. Not that it's been announced that there's going to be a season 2, but most likely going to be a cliffhanger for the next season with anticipation of potentially getting a season 2. But I hope they still wrap it up in a way that it makes sense just in case they don't, where there isn't such a big cliffhanger for it. But hopeful that there is a season 2 because it's a really good show. So we'll see what happens. The next thing I'll mention that I watched is a documentary on Disney Plus.
Ooh,
And it is Hideo Kojima, the mastermind in gaming.
Yeah.
So this documentary is about 60 minutes. And it essentially just sort of like a brief interview with him and his colleagues and the people he's worked with and some gaming journalists, just on how his mind works when it comes to creating video games, especially a lot of the ones that he's created or that he's been a part of, where a lot of it is mostly horror based or sort of like really psychological thriller sort of stuff. Because he grew up loving watching movies and going to the cinema. So for him, he takes a lot of inspiration from films when he's creating his video games, which you can really tell in a lot of them.
Yeah,
yeah,
you can.
And so this particular documentary was 40% talking about how Death Stranding came about. Yeah. So they talk. So they actually interview some of the cast members who had to wear the mocap suits, like Troy Baker and what's his name from The Walking Dead?
Norman Reedus.
Yes,
Cleet.
Yes,
Cletus.
that guy.
Cletus, the Slack, George.
Mom, get off the dang roof. You hurt yourself.
And they also speak to the colleagues that work within his company, which, funny enough, he only created this company in the last couple of years, and his office is directly across the road from Sony.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And the thing that he mentions that really stuck out to me was that a game that he creates, he'll only put his name on it if he's involved with it from start to finish.
Oh,
yeah,
that's kind of cool.
And that's why for him, when he's creating games, a lot of them take a long time to brew, and for them to then publish it. It's because of the fact that he's so involved in the games that he wants to make sure it's perfect, according to what he's imagining and all that sort of stuff. So it's really cool to see. His mind works really differently as well when it comes to video games, because not only was this a brief brief look into the world of Hideo Kojima, it was also like a very stylized documentary. Almost like some of the cutaways were animations, some of the cutaways were very stylistic cinematic sort of views. Yeah, it was a really interesting sort of visual watch, and I kind of enjoyed it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to turn around and all of a sudden be like, hey, I'm a Hideo Kojima fan, now I'm going to start playing his games, because a lot of them are not my style of games.
No.
And one particular one is Lost Media now.
Which one?
Yeah.
PT.
PT? Yeah.
Okay, never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a horror. It's a really like kind of horror. Wasn't Guillermo del Toro involved with it as well?
Oh, he was in it too.
Yeah.
Ah, good.
No, PT was supposed to be like a sort of...
It was connected to something.
Yeah, it was like a promotional thing for a Silent Hill game that never got off the ground.
Silent Hill, that's right.
Yeah. And it was very psychological horror, and unfortunately, it was only a digital download, and if you still have that, but you can't get it anymore. So if you still have that on your PS4, I think it is, that console is worth a lot of money.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. So yeah, diving into the world of Hideo Kojima. It's only a 60-minute watch. It's very insightful. You learn a lot about him in that brief time. And yeah, it was just really, really interesting. So I really enjoyed that. The last thing I'll mention was a film that I watched. For some reason lately I've been getting into this realm of wanting to watch a film every now and then, which is kind of nice. Because I'm, getting I think I'm getting a little burnt out with shows, and I'm not watching enough movies to sort of break it up. So
yeah, fair cool.
This past week, however, was interesting on how I discovered this movie, because I was at work. I was processing DVDs. And this particular film was one of those DVDs that was in the order. And I saw this and I'm like, this looks interesting. It's got Idris Elba in it and Tilda Swinton. And it's 2022's 3,000 Years of Longing.
Oh, wow, Fulya. I am impressed.
You're going for art house right there.
Because that's like a woof. That's
that was an interesting watch.
Yeah, even I haven't seen that one. But please tell us your thoughts. I'm curious.
Tell me more.
So essentially, Idris Elba's character, he is a jinn. And
Yes.
Tilda Swinton is I'm not quite sure what her actual like role, her title is. However, she's a bit of a scholar. She likes to write and sort of research about stories, essentially. She does a lot of story research and sort of history stuff. And so she travels to Istanbul in Turkey and and discovers that she comes across this little ornament that she finds in the bazaar, and it kind of looks a bit deformed. And so her friend, Professor Gunhan, who's sort of escorting her around and works with her, ends up, telling, like, because he was the one who took her to the bazaar, she's like, I want to take this one. And then he's like, no, that one doesn't look great. Look at it. It's a bit deformed. Why don't you get something that doesn't look, that looks a bit better and stuff like that. She's like, no, I like the characteristics of this one. I bet you this has a really cool story to it. So that's why she ended up buying it. Took her home. Well, back to the hotel at least. Took her back to the hotel, and after having a shower, ends up trying to clean this little vase ornament. It had a lid on it, so she was like brushing at it, trying to pry it open, and then poof, like a genie out of a lamp comes out the jinn, Idris Elba. But he doesn't start off as a regular size jinn, like a regular size person, like human size. No. He takes up the whole hotel room. That's how big he is. and Taylor Swinton's character, I think it's Alethea, her name. She closes her eyes. She's like, I'm going to count to 3 and this is all going to go away. She counts to 3, opens her eyes. He's still there. And then he pretty much was speaking some really sort of gibberish language that she couldn't understand. However, she's learnt some other languages. So she was starting to roll off like random sort of, do you speak this language? Do you speak this language in those languages? And then they get to Greek. And then the jinn turns around instantly. It's like, you understand Greek. And they're saying it. They're speaking in Greek. They're both speaking in Greek together. And that's kind of how the story, this is how the film begins. But essentially what happens is this jinn is like, I will grant you 3 wishes. And if you use those 3 wishes, then you will be granting me freedom. And then the rest of this movie just goes down this whole different storytelling sort of a vibe. It's not a lot about Alethea. It's more about the jinn and his journey to where he ended up.
Right.
And it's like, I think it's like thousands of years of waiting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like he tells a story about where he first started from his first master, and then went to the next one, and then something triggers another story. And it's literally just Idris Elba telling stories throughout this whole movie. And it's about 80 minutes. Now, I like storytelling in games. So this was actually really nice for me to just sit back and just watch it all play out. The thing is, that 80 minutes did not feel like 80 minutes to me.
Okay.
It felt a lot longer. So it dragged out a bit.
That's not good.
That's how I felt. I felt like it dragged it. It felt like a 2-hour movie, to be honest, rather than an 80-minute. But overall, I enjoyed it for what it was. I feel like you two would probably get a bit bored of it.
Oh, wow.
I mean, there's like action in it, but it's not a lot of action. It's very historical. But they sort of go back and forth in their, like, the flashbacks of the jinn's flashbacks. Not to mention the fact they're also speaking Turkish in these flashbacks, because that's where he started off. He started off like this whole time he's in Turkey. And yeah, it's just very interesting in the way that they did the storytelling of it. It just felt like it dragged on a bit. That's all. So I feel like you two might end up getting bored. Like Kendall, you might get something out of it, because I know how much you like storytelling, and it's also very fantasy based as well. But yeah, it just felt like it was not ending, because it was a tale after a tale after a tale, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But it was still cool.
Right.
I liked it. And just being able to hear Idris Elba speak Turkish was interesting. Don't always see that every day. So, and if you are interested in checking it out, it is on Prime Video.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
So that's
Great.
what I watched this week. Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks,
Apart from the
Fulya.
others, so, yeah.
That's awesome. That's super cool. Thank you. Mike, what about you, sir?
Yes, me. Kind of a good selection of stuff that I've been doing. Within games, I'm still doing The Last of Us Part 2. And I've put in almost 10 hours within game, which is pretty good. So I'm probably like say almost halfway through like the actual story. But I had to put it down because I came to a bit that I felt that I needed to put it down for a bit.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there was, just like when a certain character died in the game.
In the game.
I had to put it down for a bit. Yeah, so I can pluck up the courage to actually go back to it. It sort of happened again, but it wasn't a death. It was actions from someone that I thought, I need to put this down for a bit, because it was just an emotional roller coaster going to this particular thing. And yeah, and I haven't gone back to it. So maybe during the week I'll get back to it. So no spoilers for you, Kendall, and Fulya. Yes. Yes.
Hi.
Person at the back.
Fulya from the principal. So far, are you enjoying part 2 more than part 1, or is part 1 still good? Is better?
I'm not going to pass any judgment until I finish it.
Okay.
Because the story is compelling and gripping, and I'm living through these people that I enjoy watching, and there's always like a bit of me enjoying it, but it's starting to become harrowsome, and I just need to take a break. So to answer your question,
that's fair.
Yeah, to answer your question,
you'll get back to me.
Yeah, it's on par of liking it, like
okay,
but I'm worried that I'm not going to like it. But in the meantime, I'm still invested into the actual story, and I think I shot myself in the foot, and I think I know what the big reveal is going to be at the end. But hopefully that hopefully that will be resolved like before the actual ending. So I don't know, and I'm a bit worried for what's going to happen in the second season of the show, and how they're going to portray this way and things. Bit worried.
Okay, so I'll ask you again once you're finished.
Yeah. hopefully, because I've been watching a playthrough as well to see how far I am, because I want to know when the actual ending is, instead of abrupt. Oh, it's going to be like that, because that's what happened at the first one. It's like, is that it? Okay, but knowing there's going to be a second one, so and there's no word that there's going to be a third one. Maybe
probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so. So there's going to be the actual ending. So
yep,
I'm worried. I am worried. I've put so much heart and effort into it, and it's all going to go away. But having said that, I needed to cheer myself up. So the family watched Wonka.
Yeah, was it good?
Yeah, it's not bad. It was whimsical and fun and enjoyable, which is good, because I just needed a break from being depressed.
Depressing.
Yeah. But it's just and that was a lot of fun and good props from it. I'm not gonna say if it's better or worse. It's just it's its own story, and take it what you will. I mean, there's a lot of references to the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka, which makes sense. Except for the Tim Burton stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting beast, so I don't want to really think about it too much. It's a musical, which take it or leave it. But it was fun, and the kids enjoyed it too. So that's
good.
Haven't really wanted to watch it again, as they tend to do with movies that they like. I mean, we've seen Boss Baby 1 and 2 like again, so that's how things are going about. It's like, no, you need to watch a plethora of so much, so you can get a taste for everything. It's like, no, we need to watch the same thing again. And then Captain Underpants. It's like, yeah, I'll speak to you when you have a bit more of an interest in stuff that I like. I don't know. But speaking of stuff that I like, and Timothy Chalamet, I went to the movies and I saw Dune 2, Blue Eyes Electric Boogaloo.
Okay. I'm seeing it in IMAX on Thursday. I can't wait. I'm so excited. So don't spoil me, but
don't spoil.
Was it good?
It was good. On par with the first one.
Yes, that's what I want to hear.
You can't really say is it better than the first one or the second one. It's the continued story, so you can only like judge it as part of the all narrative of the first book of Dune. It was a very good adaptation, and there's a lot of differences to the books, which I don't mind. It always keeps you guessing, but I think the feel of it does set itself up for a continued story. I mean, there's more books to it as well. Like after the first one, George Miller. Yeah. Sorry. George? No. Frank Herbert. George Miller directed 3,000 Years of Longing. Anyway, so Frank Herbert wrote the next book because he was he was worried that not many people got the message of Dune, and so he decided to continue on with it. And I think the movie is sort of playing loosely homage to that particular side. I mean, comparing to what you know, Kendall, I would be interested in what you think of the ending, because it's very it's a different flavor to what Lynch did, David Lynch in that one.
Oh, I haven't seen the Lynch.
Yeah, I would suggest. I would suggest watch the Lynch one after this one, because
I don't have time.
No, and it's all it's all the same story within that. So,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
and which is a demanding feat, and I enjoyed the Lynch one. It's very dense as we've seen with the Venue adaptation, but crammed into one, and it's very Lynchian. So I do like that. Yeah, I do recommend it, especially if you like your very thinky Star Wars. Very thinky Star Wars, sci-fi. I was about to say, but it's Star Wars.
It is.
It's like this is rip off of Star Wars, really? Okay.
Okay.
But yeah. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm jealous that you're watching it in IMAX. I mean, I watched it like close to the front row because I wanted to be more immersed, and I'm happy that I did because the visual in this is absolutely amazing, and just the action in it. It made me floored. And there was one bit where I audibly went, "Oh, that's awesome."
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, you enjoy it, but unfortunately, I didn't get the Village Cinema didn't have the popcorn bucket. Unfortunately,
Gee, I wonder why.
Have you listened to Batman Beyond yet
this
week?
Yeah, I think I did, and I thought, yeah, well, the joke's right itself.
Please tell.
I was gonna say, Fulya, you don't listen anymore. The popcorn bucket. Yeah, JC. He knows someone who has an OnlyFans, and the person on the OnlyFans said that they would fuck the popcorn bucket
because it looks because it looks like a fleshlight.
Yeah.
It looks like a fleshlight. Okay. We established that. Yes. So apparently he has done it.
The first one. Before anyone else.
Yeah, he was like, it went fucking insane, apparently, his OnlyFans, because, like, he jumped on it immediately and was like, I'm gonna fuck this. Who wants to pay me money to watch me fuck this?
I don't partake in that particular entertainment, but I'm curious.
Okay.
Hey, I'm open.
Love it.
I'm open.
You're open. Yeah, it's fine. It's all good.
It's fine.
It's all healthy.
Yeah.
Healthy sexuality. It's fine.
Yeah. Just mutual.
Yeah. Yeah. I try not to think about it when I see the sandworms on Thursday. In IMAX.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Josh Brolin was on Stephen Colbert, and that he's written a synopsis for the show for the movie, which is absolutely hilarious. It says Wonka and the robot lady fall in love in the desert, and the bad guy from Country of Old Man still doesn't like the guy from Goonies. and all this stuff.
I love that because that's what I do when I see these actors, and I usually just do it with like the superhero movies they've been in. And I'm like, Captain America fights Superman and blah blah blah, and it's fun.
So that's basically it. That's my thinking. Oh, and also I've started watching the second season of The Bear.
Yay!
Because been meaning to watch it, and they've started filming, and the third one comes out this year at the end of the year. So
it does.
I need to rat on my dad.
June.
Comes
out in June.
June. After Madoon.
June.
Yeah, so I watched it after Dune. Up to episode 7, and I've just finished the Christmas special episode.
Oh, mate. That was
wow. That was a good surprise. It's like
that was.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my god! I know, literally. I'm just all these people just start coming in the room. I'm like, oh, Okay. All-star cast.
Yeah.
It was great.
Just for that episode, I thought, that's fantastic. I like this episode
Yeah.
and episode 7 of season 1, where it was just a one shot.
The one take,
Yeah.
yeah. They're definitely the two best episodes of the whole show.
Which I
yeah, for
rewatched before watching the second one. And I thought, okay, where am I up to, and what's been happening? It's like, should I go back to the last episode? Nah, I'll go back to this one and then watch it all the way through. And I'm glad I did, because that episode's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Good piece of TV.
Yes, it is.
Which is a good TV, which I am glad that I watched, because Maths is on, and
You need a palate cleanser.
yeah, it's like, I don't watch it. It's just in the background. It's like, I hate these people.
I hate these people.
Why don't you sit down and watch something with me? Because you watch trash. Anyway. I can barely stomach Gogglebox, okay? Shut up.
Oh, that show pisses me off. I've never seen a single episode, but just the very concept of people.
It's, in a way,
getting paid
it's oddly
to watch TV.
satisfying watching normies just watch bad TV.
I don't know. It's weird. It's like shitty reaction videos. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
Anyway.
it's like a worm. It's like an Ouroboros. It's a worm fucking its own mouth. Haha, there we go.
Yeah.
There's
Haha.
connection.
Worm fucking its own popcorn bucket. All right, let's.
What about you, Kendall? What have you been watching?
Yes, me. Well, I don't have too much to say. Because I've watched some things that I will mention. But I spent most of my time watching the things we're going to talk about later.
Fair enough.
So yes. So first off, I will mention that. Where do I go? Oh, I'll just continue the trend. Speaking of good television, there we go. There's a segue.
Hey.
I am up to the end now of season 1 of Succession.
Another thing that I've been meaning to watch.
Yes. I'm getting through my list. I was like, right, I'm going to watch The Bear. Now I've done The Bear. All right, now I'm going to watch Succession. So I'm almost a quarter of the way through the whole thing already.
'Cause there's 4 seasons.
Yeah, because there's 4 seasons. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's very good. Like, I think I like The Bear more if I had to compare the two, but they're very, very different shows. That Succession definitely has some comedy elements to it as well, I will say. Not in the same, well, in a similar but different way that The Bear does, but yeah, there's one particular character in Succession, and you'll know him when you see him, Mike, but he's like the secondhand embarrassment from this guy.
Oh.
Fuck. Oh, Fulya, you would hate it. You would hate it. It's because it even makes me cringe. I'm like, man,
Cringe
stop
comedy.
it. Cringe comedy. But no, it's a brilliant show. Brian Cox is an absolute cunt. Like a definition of cunt. Yeah, he's a very bad person, a bad father, a bad man. Well,
say popcorn bucket.
He's a very bad popcorn bucket. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, but he plays it so bloody well. Like, you know, the in terms of the performances, the show lives up to that. The reputation, the awards, the hype around all the actors in the cast. Like, they're fucking fantastic. Kieran Culkin's hilarious. Like, just fantastic. Like, the arrogance on him is just, and the mouth on him is just fantastic. But you know what's the most interesting part for me? I've never watched something where a character has my name, and there is a character in this show whose name is Kendall.
Spelled the same?
Yeah, spelled exactly the same, except it's a man. Because yeah, Kendall is also, it's a unisex name. So yeah, it's also a male name and a surname. But I've never watched something where a character has my name, and he's one of the main characters in the show too. So I'm hearing my name all the time, and I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, is this how you feel, Michael?
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, literally.
I
It's
cannot
such a
watch The
weird
Office.
feeling. Yeah. But it's funny, but yeah. No, I think Sarah Snook's character Shiv is my favorite. I've decided she's, you know, she's just got her shit switched on. She knows what she's doing. She's badass. She's hilarious and sassy. And
Will she win the Game of Thrones?
will she win the Game of Thrones? Who knows? Who knows? But it's very good. If you like kind of, rich assholes fighting each other, yeah, it's a good time. So I'm looking forward to getting through that. But yes, what else have I been watching? Well, I actually went to see some live theater this week.
Oh.
Christina took me.
Hi, Christina.
And hello. We went and saw Rent.
Oh.
Yeah, it's playing at the Arts Centre, the State Theatre at the moment. And I've only seen the movie, so I didn't really know too much about what the musical, like what the differences might be or might not be or whatever. And the movie was pretty good from what I remember. But yeah, but seeing it live, like on a stage, was just really, really cool. Like it's very, I can see why, what's his fucking name? Lin-Manuel Miranda. I can see why he's so inspired by Jonathan Larson and his musicals, because Rent is definitely a precursor to Hamilton, like very much. Because most of Rent is sung, like there's not a lot of just dialogue in it. So in the way that Hamilton is pretty much all rapped or sung, and it's a rock musical, so all the songs are kind of like power ballady or it's very contemporary music. It was made in the 90s. But yeah, it was really, really good and really powerful and a really cool production. They had a great cast, with some great singers and great actors, and there was this one, she played Maureen. If you've seen Rent or you know Rent, you know who that character is. But this one woman, my God, like she was like Christina Aguilera, like her voice was like, she comes in like almost halfway through the show, and she just belts out this like one woman performance that's like an experimental sort of trippy art piece, interpretive dance thing. And she's singing about milking cows and she's got udders on her and it's very, anyway. But the fucking voice on her, like the crowd was losing their shit. And for a moment where she even had to be like, calm down. Like, so, which was really cool. Yeah. So yeah, it was awesome. We had a really good time watching that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of songs that aren't in the movie. The movie's definitely more of a traditional movie musical where there's actual scenes with dialogue and stuff. Like it's just, they didn't have, not every song that's in the stage show is in the movie, just for comparison's sake.
Looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a look. And then I'll finish up by saying that I watched a movie last night, one of the 10 Best Picture nominees. I watched American Fiction. It's on Amazon Prime. I recommend you both should watch it. It's very good. Jeffrey Wright is the lead, the voice of the Watcher in What If, and
Commissioner Gordon.
And Commissioner Gordon, of course. I was just making reference you both would understand. And so he plays this author who writes, really interesting and intelligent like fiction novels, right? That they're not like super popular or anything, but they're good. His publisher knows they're good. He knows they're good, but they just don't bring in the numbers that they want. Like the people who sell his books, they want him to write more black, basically. And there's this book that's out in the film at the moment that's like really stereotypically like black, kind of stuff. And it's a bit of a satire as well. And he ends up, just because he's so pissed that he has to be reduced to his race to get somewhere in life. He doesn't want to be. So as a way to get back at the publishers, the distributors, whatever, he decides to actually write the book that they want, and he takes the piss as he does it, and then it just becomes this fucking huge sensation. The plan backfires, and then it just lies upon lies thereafter, and it's very funny. So it's a bit of a dramedy, because there's also this it's not just about that's the centerpiece of the film, but there's also this stuff with his family. He's actually a professor at a university, and he has to take a leave of absence because of his attitude problems, which are funny, not inappropriate, but funny. And he has to go back home to see his family, who he has there's a bit of tension with them. So that's the other half of the movie, is him going home, and his mum's health is declining, and and things aren't great with his brother or his sister, and it's just this whole thing. But it's a great movie. I really liked it. Jeffrey Wright's fantastic in it. And yeah, it was just a good bit of fun. It was a nice mix between drama and comedy and satire, and I recommend. It's 2 hours long, so it's not super short, but it doesn't drag. It's nicely paced. So, and if in terms of best picture nominees, it's a pretty light kind of a in terms of you don't have to be super paying attention sort of thing. It's not one of those super thinky ones. It's just you going in, the movie it's selling you what you see. It's not trying to teach you anything else other than what the movie is actually telling you. So it's I recommend. Yeah, it was really cool. Really cool. So I have 2 more, I think. 2. Yeah, I've still got to watch The Zone of Interest and Killers of the Flower Moon, and I have a week to do so because the Oscars are on Labor Day. So I'm cutting it close. But we'll get there.
Who's gonna get bitch slapped this year? Haha.
Who's gonna? Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you all about it. Alrighty, enough of the weekly watchings. Let's get into the rest of the show with the week that was in the nerdy news.
Yeah.
This is the news, the nerdy news. The nerds that talk about the nerdy news. That is us who talk about the news that is nerdy. And now the queen of nerdydom, the hostess with most S, Kendall Richardson. Take it away, Kendall.
Alrighty. Nerdy news time, and there's not a hell of a lot to discuss in the news this week, but we will see what we can make of these 3 stories, starting with some Marvel news. Pretty much confirmation. We've got now that Emma Corrin, who was Princess Diana in The Crown, she played the younger version of her that was introduced in season 4. She's going to be the villain in Deadpool and Wolverine, and she's going to be portraying none other than Cassandra Nova. There is a glimpse of her in the trailer. We only get to see the back of her head, her very bald head, and she's wearing some kind of broad outfit, sort of broad shoulder thing going on. Now, I had no idea who Cassandra Nova was. I've never heard of this before. But I'm kind of really curious, and I kind of really like the fact that for this movie, the villain that they're going for is not someone that's super well known. It's a little bit more niche, which I think is really, really great. So Cassandra Nova is actually Charles Xavier's twin sister. Now get this. Apparently, Charles believed he actually using his psychic abilities. So he set in the womb. He sensed her in the womb, sensed that she was evil, and tried to, or thought he had killed her. Basically, I think that's how the story goes. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she survives, and then comes back later some point in the comics. And now here she is going to be in live action form in this movie. So I'm super curious. I'm kind of heading towards the theory of it's gonna have something to do with the Disney Fox takeover. I feel like that's kind of gonna be like part of the plot of the film, as we can see from the downed Fox logo in the background. And I think, we're all kind of speculating that they're in the void when all the fighting's going on. So part of me thinks that she was like maybe she's like angry at Deadpool for fucking shit up, or something, like, yeah, like, you took my universe away, or why do you get to live in the new universe and I have to be subject to this horse shit? I don't know. That's a very loose theory that I've got working, but who knows? Who knows? I'm very curious. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Fulya? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Look, I've never actually, like you, I was never really heard about the character Cassandra Nova, so it's interesting to find out that there's a main antagonist that Deadpool and Wolverine will be up against, which is really interesting. Yeah, I'd like to actually learn more about this particular character, like considering the fact that she's been in a lot of the Marvel X-Men comics back in the day. Yeah, it's interesting, and the fact that you mentioned that she's the twin sibling of Charles Xavier. That is very, very interesting, because nobody mentioned anything about a sister until now.
Yeah,
unless you read the comics,
as comics usually do.
Yeah. So yeah, no, look, I suppose we'll find out in the film once we get around to watching it.
Indeed. What about you, Mike? What are your thoughts of this? So, were you aware of Cassandra Nova?
No, not to me. Apparently, she's a newer addition to the X-Men mythos. Yeah, she's only been in the comics since I think 2010 ish, so fairly recent.
Right.
I think, and yeah, it says what it says on the tin. When her and Charles were in utero form, they were womb mates, and yeah, and like the joke is like, oh, I ate my twin in utero. that sort of thing. So she got yeeted, and she was left to die. So bit of a screwed up origin story, really. And she somehow survived, and yeah, and it'll be a very interesting story to tell. Is she mad of Deadpool, like want to be part of something, and she wasn't part of anything, didn't have a family, so she decided to become evil. Or maybe Deadpool's the evil one. We don't know. It could be a role swap reversal sort of thing. And she wants the Fox universe to survive, and everyone says, nah, no more. You're going to be implemented into this universe. Yeah, it'll be a very interesting story of how they're going to take it. But I'll be watching this, so When are we?
Yeah, hell yeah.
When are we going to be watching this, Kendall?
In July.
In July.
July 25.
Oh.
Or 26, I think, for us. I can't remember.
Give me,
Or
give
24.
me, give me X-Men after midnight.
After midnight, yes. Good. Good. All right. Let's move on to our next item. We're crossing the pond, DC, for this one. Because I don't know if you guys realize, but February 29th is Superman's birthday.
Hey.
It's born on a leap year. We love that. Yes.
And he leaped over a tall building. Ha ha!
He sure did in a single bound. And apparently this is just a sheer coincidence, but on February 29th, James Gunn's Superman, not Superman Legacy anymore, it's called Superman now.
Oh, that's Superman.
Started filming. So they've begun production, principal photography. We got a little tease on Instagram celebrating the commencement of filming. Just a close-up shot of the costume with some snow on it, which was looking a bit interesting. Foreshadowing, Fortress of Solitude, maybe. But yes,
Snow day.
Snow day. So James Gunn wrote on his Instagram, he said, "Overjoyed to be announcing the start of principal photography on Superman today, February 29th, which just so happens to be, coincidentally, an unplanned Superman's birthday. When I finished the first draft of the script, I called the film Superman Legacy. By the time I locked the final draft, it was clear the title was Superman. Making our way to you, July 2025. I love him. I love James Gunn. He's just, he knows how to win me over. This just kind of makes me happy. I can't wait to see this movie. I'm okay with the fact of the name change. Superman Legacy was an interesting title, and I'd be curious to find out how it went from being Legacy to Superman, like what those early drafts look like in terms of why is it more of a legacy to why is it just Superman now? Why have we done that? I'm just curious, but it's kind of nice. It feels, it just makes me go back to, Christopher Reeve, just thinking about a movie called Superman, I don't know. I get all nostalgic all of a sudden, which is cool. But yeah, I can't wait. Pretty exciting stuff. Fulya, I'm guessing you probably don't have much to add on this. Do you think you might, since it's James Gunn, I don't know if I've asked you, but since it is James Gunn, do you think you might be interested in checking this out?
I feel like the fact that they're releasing it in July, they're just trying to maybe convince me into watching a DC movie. I'm just maybe July is becoming the new time for releasing superhero films. What's going on here?
Yeah, maybe. It's a sign. It's a sign.
First, first is Deadpool. Now it's this.
Yeah. Yep.
Must be a sign from the superhero overlords.
Yes.
The Watchers.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious just by looking at the cast at the moment.
It's got your boy in it.
Who's my boy?
Fulya.
Yeah.
He's a Green Lantern.
He is.
Yeah, and apparently Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor, which is interesting.
Yes.
Beast.
Beast is now Lex Luthor.
Boy Beast. The Boy Beast.
Yes. So, look. Give me a trailer. Maybe that'll convince me.
Oh.
But other than that, I can't say much.
That's fine. You just made me think about the trailer, and then my mind went straight to who the hell is going to be the composer for this movie. Not Hans Zimmer. As much as I love Hans, this is not his movie.
Get away from there.
Part of me kind of really wants Michael Giacchino to do it. Like, he's done a bunch of superhero movies, like Doctor Strange and I think Spider-Man and a few other. Like, he's just a renowned great composer, and he does really cool scores. And because like John Williams is, he's in his 90s now, and he's not. I doubt they would. I doubt, as much as this movie is Superman and it's giving me nostalgia, I don't think this is going to be a connection to the Christopher Reeve films like the one in the mid 2000s with Brandon Routh was Superman Returns. So I don't know. I just love that score so much. It's my favorite film score. I just want it again.
Can you imagine if it was Ludwig Göransson that did the score?
Oh, okay. All right. You see my Michael Giacchino and you raise me Ludwig Göransson. I see you. I see you. No, I'd be down for him. I'd be down for him.
Nah.
Yeah?
No. Who would you bring to the table, Michael?
Well, he's already done Batman. Why don't we get Danny Elfman?
I knew you were gonna say it. I knew you. His name crossed my mind as well, and I'm like, that could be interesting. It could be interesting. Fantastic.
Superman.
All right, Mike. While we've got you, what do you think about the name change, the costume tease? Do you have any thoughts?
A lot of comic book nerds have already deduced that the costume is based on Superman Kingdom Come, whatever that is.
Yes.
And Superman Legacy was actually based on the name was based on the comic that was influenced by. So probably to make it its own thing, James Gunn decided to say, well, we'll just call it Superman. But the unfortunate thing is like, oh, which one? Superman 2025 or Superman 1977? 8? Something like that.
78.
So, who knows? Maybe people will talk about the comparisons between those two. But I don't think it's going to be a Superman origin. I mean, we've seen it done to death already. It's like probably down the same vein as Spider-Man. It's like, well, we can just give hints that he's son of Krypton and all that, because everyone fucking knows. He's been around for almost 100 years. So
yeah, you don't need to.
He's an old man now.
Mm-hmm.
Old man
Batman. He's an old man.
Old man Batman.
Old man Soups.
Master Wayne. I don't know why. Michael Caine came into my head.
Why not? Hey, why not? Any excuse. We'll take it.
Yeah. So
Michael.
I'm happy. They began filming, and the social medias is all a buzz. Like there's, can't remember her name, but the lady who's playing Lois Lane,
Rachel Brosnahan.
That's her. Put in thing is like when a supervillain, a journalist, and an alien walk into a bar, and those two just come into frame. It's like, haha. Well, so they're having fun, which is good.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun on a James Gunn set, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're the problem.
Basically, you're the problem. It's nice. It's kind of restored my hope, I suppose, which is fitting.
Yeah.
It's Superman, but
it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun.
I think so. It's going to be a return to form for the character that, we grew up with, I think. So
yeah.
We'll see.
Brandon Routh.
Yeah, he was great. Oh. Say what you will about that mixed bag of a movie. He was fantastic. Like, they cast him very well, and I'm so glad he got to play him one more time in the Crisis on Infinite Earths
Ooh,
crossover. That was
not to do a huge tangent, but
Go for
the
it.
cartoon is doing Crisis on Infinite Earth,
Yes, they are. They're doing that at the moment.
and apparently, it will be the last thing that Kevin Conroy is going to be doing. Him and
Yes.
Mark Hamill.
And
also Batman Beyond is going to be in that as well, which cool. So they're going to be showcasing the animated versions of the DC universe, just like Crisis on Infinite Earth did the television shows.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check out those animated movies.
Plus,
because especially for Kevin.
Yeah, with that, and plus a movie Flash, but we don't talk about him anymore. Them.
No, we don't talk about. We
don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno. No. All right. Speaking of things we do talk about, we've got one more. We got one more item in the news to touch on, and this made me very happy. This week. So some Rings of Power news, which I'm just happy to say that there is Rings of Power news because, season 2 finished production late last year and we're still waiting on a trailer. We all thought there was going to be a trailer at the Super Bowl. There wasn't. And, there hasn't been a lot of anything.
Visual effects takes a long time, as it should.
And it should. You are true and correct in that statement. And the first season's visual effects were incredible. So it's fine. They can take their time.
I want it
just
now.
Give me something. I need something. I need it. I need my fix. Anyway, so I'll take this.
Watch The
so
Hobbit again and be disappointed.
No, I need to read The Two Towers. I read Fellowship and I haven't read Two Towers yet. I need to do that. Anyway, so the reason I bring it up is that this week it was Amazon announced that the showrunners of Rings of Power, Patrick McKay and JD Payne, have signed a new deal with Amazon Studios for 3 years. And in the announcement, it was also mentioned that they've started working on season 3, which is super, super positive. Considering, and this is where it gets tricky for me, because they haven't actually renewed the show for a 3rd season yet. But the fact that Amazon is officially talking about, saying that they've started work on season 3, I feel like it means that that's where it's going. But at the same time, when the show was announced years ago, they said it was getting 5 seasons. So I don't know why they have to be renewed for every season when Amazon was already like, yeah, you can have 5 years. But anyway, I'm sorry. No one has explained that to me yet, and I'm just so confused. But anyway, that's just my inner ramblings. But basically, Amazon are feeling really, really good about, still about the first season, even though it got quite mixed reviews. My hyperfixation aside, it definitely received mixed reviews. But season 2, I'm hoping will bring some fans back or bring new fans in. We'll see what happens. But yeah, really good to see that at least they're going ahead with another 3 years with these two. They have faith in the showrunners for what they can do. Which is cool. And they've, in terms of starting season 3, they haven't really done anything except they have started to break the initial story outline of the 3rd season. There's a lot of speculation in the fandom as to what will be in the 3rd season. Mike, I don't know how familiar you are with. You haven't read The Silmarillion, have you?
I've listened to it, and it's dense as hell.
Yes,
it
is dense.
It is dense. It is pretty much a textbook, as in if you want to study philosophy. It's a lot of names, it's a lot of places with no interconnections. It's like, okay, I need a visual aid. Please give me visual aid.
Yes, and that's what this show is sort of trying to do. Season 2, it said is going to be we're going to be getting Sauron's backstory, which makes me very happy. So that's kind of exciting, but we don't know. Apparently, there's going to be according to whispers, season 2 is going to end with like a massive 2-episode battle. And a lot of people think this is there's a point where I think it's Sauron initiates a siege on Eregion, and Celebrimbor is murdered. A lot of people think that's going to... Spoilers. A lot of people think that's going to be the end of season 2, but there's a very chance that could be season 3. Who knows? There's also rumors that we'll get to see the forging of the One Ring this season, but we only have the 3 Elven rings so far, and they've been forged before all the others were in the lore. It's the other way around. But it's fine. They're playing fast and loose with the lore, and I am not offended. As someone who is now very ingrained in the Tolkien world, I'm not offended by any of it. So, anyway, I'm going to stop. I'm going to... Oh, don't worry. I've got thoughts about true fans of things later on.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. But for now, I'll stop rambling about Rings of Power, because otherwise we'll be here for another 3 hours. Fulya, I can't imagine you have much to add to this, considering I couldn't convince you to keep watching this show.
Yeah, no, I've got nothing really.
That's
but
all right.
it's cool that they're already talking about a season 3, like even though season 2 hasn't even been released yet. So
yeah, it's exciting.
That is a testament to its fans and just, how popular it is. So
yeah.
You Lord of the Rings fans are eating well.
Yes, and we will eat very well later this year when season 2 comes out.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay.
Eat
well,
and be
I'll
merry.
I'll just throw it over to Lister.
Mike.
Hello.
Yes.
Well, it's on the other side. Because remember, I'm doing the stream, not you. Yeah, there we go.
There you go. No. Yeah, Mike, what are your thoughts? Does this excite you in any way?
Yeah. I forgot this show existed again. It's such a long time since watching.
I know. It's been 18 months since season 1 finished already. So.
Oh, I can do a deep cut Doctor Who thing right there. 18 months is too long to wait.
Yes.
If you know, you know. It's terrible music video. Happy that they're breaking down season 3 after pretty much principal photography is done, and it's in the post-production stage of season 2. So just thought, okay, what do we do now? I don't know. Let's do number 3. So I don't know. I think they're placing their bets as like, it's going to be 5, and then it's sort of lukewarm. It's like, okay, let's just see what happens. See what how the audience will take for this one, and then they can either cram in much as they can, or take out, or make it extend to whatever. So they're pretty much placing their bets on as like, well, we said 5, maybe 3. So we know the whole thing's finished when we get to see Isildur cut off the hand.
Yeah.
And that's
then
credits.
Yeah, that's the end. That's the end game, is them getting to the Last Alliance.
Yeah.
That's where they want to finish. So
yeah,
I hope they get there.
Fingers crossed.
I'm actually more excited for the spoilers for the Fall of Numenor. That's the storyline I'm most excited for. Not just, well, mostly because Sauron plays a huge part in it, but just because it's a really cool story, and he's sexy. I love him. Anyway,
you like the bad boys.
I like the bad boys. I like the villains. Give me the bad boys. Yeah, but no, it's just because like the Numenor story in the first season was also like just like so cool, and like to learn about Aragorn's ancestors. See
His
see
ancestry.
Isildur
Yeah.
and see Elendil, and and learn about the whole mythos behind them. Like it's so cool.
Seeing Isildur as a boy is like, you doomed us all.
Yeah, and this is the kid that just
I
fucked
can't wait.
everything up. Yeah.
Can we just lay it out there, please? Can you just give the elves long hair, please? Elves with short hair look like Vulcans, and I can't unsee that.
Oh dear. I mean, Gil Galad has long hair.
One
One
person.
one male.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's. I feel like. Look. I feel like if anything, that might be. I don't know how like reactive they're going to be to some of the criticisms people had, and because that was one of the major criticisms was like all the male elves pretty much have short hair. And none of the female dwarves had beards. Like, I wonder if they will alter any of the physical appearance stuff, which doesn't fucking matter to me too much, but I understand that it could bother some people.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the dwarfs women not having beards, it's sort of an offhand joke from the original trilogy, and then they sort of implemented it into the. I'm burping, sorry. Implemented in the Hobbit. So here nor there for women with beards. I mean, each to their own. maybe just mutton chops.
Well, they do though. They have like kind of. They're not super obvious, but they do have like muttony chops. Anyway.
Pro women with beards. That's what this podcast is about.
Oh yeah.
And thank you for setting an example, guys.
Thanks the male population.
Nice to be inclusive.
It's nice to be inclusive. All right. That'll do it for the nerdy news. It's definitely time to move on out of that and roll on up to the trailer park.
Yes.
Rolling up to the trailer park where we all part all the trailers.
Alrighty, trailer park time. Starting with a trailer for looks like a prequel, I think, in this series. This is The Strangers Chapter 1. I have never engaged with this franchise. A lot of people talk about how the original film, coincidentally starring Liv Tyler, we were talking about Lord of the Rings. So a lot of people talk about that movie being, very, I don't know, the movie when it came out was very, I know it was received well, I guess. I can't really think of the right word, but I have never engaged with it because I don't know. I guess I've never really been super interested in home invasion horror before. It's not really one of my things that I don't know, go to when I go to my horror. But yeah, so I've just never really been interested. But apparently I should watch it. And this is officially going to be the third movie in this franchise. Because there was another one that came out a few years ago. But I know nothing about that one, if it was any good. But yeah. But this looks, pretty, standard as far as the premise goes for this franchise, happy couple thinking everything's fine, and then all of a sudden, people in masks rock up and start, harassing them and tormenting them and all this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It was a fine enough cut trailer, nothing too, outside of any horror cliches. Showed a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, wait and see if this is any good when it comes out, and maybe I'll decide then. Yeah, maybe I should do a Strangers dive. Who knows? Yeah, don't really have much else to add. Mike, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I'm sort of the same. I've never really heard of it, or even seen bits and pieces of it. But I might do a deep dive as well. See what's it all about. Like,
What's it all about?
yeah. Obviously, strangers come to the door and they want to kill you. Everyone's scared. Yeah, it's Strangers come out 2008, the original.
Yeah.
And then 2009 and 2018, the second one supposedly came out. So, maybe they should have waited till 2028, just so it could be a nice round number. Every decade, the strangers come.
Every decade, more strangers.
Yeah, sort of a run of the mill.
Wow.
It's sort of, you've seen everything. I suppose it's for people who have followed this ever since the beginning. Not us, unfortunately, but
No.
I'm glad these people who are fans of this show are getting another movie in their franchise. Unlike Nightmare on Elm Street. God damn.
God damn it.
After one crappy remake, it's Freddy's dead. Anyway, I'm not bitter. Are you bitter? Well, I'll definitely be bitter when it comes out. So when is it coming out, Kendall?
The Strangers Chapter 1 will be out on the 17th of May in the States. We don't have an Australian date yet for this one, so it might be a streaming movie for us. We'll see. Cool. Our next trailer, yes? You gonna say anything?
What? No.
No.
When I saw Chapter 1, it's like, oh, they're going to make a trilogy of this, and this is the first one? Okay. Very daring. But no, it's a prequel.
It's a prequel.
So, technically, a period piece. Ha-ha!
Aha. Yes. Cool. Our next trailer, keeping up with the creepy tone, this is a teaser for an upcoming movie called The Watchers, which is produced by M. Night Shyamalan, but written and directed by his daughter. Yeah, which I thought was really cool and interesting. So, yeah, this one has definite sort of Quiet Place sort of vibes, and also, I don't know, like, just, I'm really intrigued. I'm kind of curious to see this movie. It looks really interesting, and also kind of looks very unsettling and kind of terrifying, because there's this whole unknown element of, like, what's watching them, what are these creatures in the forest, and what's hunting them, and all this stuff. And, you know, that part where, you know, where they're, like, apparently applauding Dakota Fanning's character, I'm like, oh, that's creepy as fuck. I thought that was really cool. So, yeah, and I liked how this teaser trailer was cut together by, like, showing, like, using sound and using the visuals to, like, go back and forth between them being inside this room, but then also being outside, and things are just not okay, sort of thing. So, yeah, it seems really, really cool. So I hope it's good. I hope it's good. What did you make of it, Mike?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a Shyamalan movie. Nepotism aside.
Yeah.
I think someone once said that Shyamalan movies sort of his genre that he's dealing with is it's like, this is the premise, and obviously there's going to be like a big twist at the end, because, you know, what a twist, it's a meme unto itself. And this is no different. So the movie will only be as good as what the twist is, and that's
Yeah.
sort of I don't know. Going into a film is like I'm waiting for the twist. Maybe there's no twist at all, and that is the twist. I don't know, or something as convoluted and stupid as you do know you're the watcher, as in the audience.
Yeah.
As like
Yeah.
no, stupid. It's
Don't.
it's either wizard, was it wizard, alien, or what does Falcon say in Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's been a long
I can't
time since
remember.
we
It's
watched
been a long
that
time.
amazingly done TV show.
Yes.
That
I don't remember what
that
he
had
says.
a wet
He says
fart
something.
ending. Yeah,
But yeah.
warlock, wizard, warlock.
Oh, he fucking.
Something like that. Either way,
Ah,
something like that.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It's like monsters, aliens, wizards, yeah. Anyway, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I get you.
So something like that at the end. It's like, okay. So it's only as strong as people watch it for the first time. And it's like, oh, you gotta wait for the twist. Twist is awesome. But if people get so, unfortunately, yeah, it'll hang on that particular thing, which is weird for a movie to do. Just waiting for the twist. So when is this coming out?
Yeah. Well, this is going to be coming out on the 13th of June.
More June.
More June for you. Cool. And our third and final trailer. This one is very different from the last two. And very interesting. This is a movie called Boy Kills World, starring Bill Skarsgård. It kind of feels like Mad Max Fury Road crossed with John Wick crossed with
The Running Man.
Yeah, or like the Hunger Games, just bonkers. It's batshit bonkers crazy. And I'm kind of interested. Because I don't really watch a lot of straight up action flicks. Like I haven't really gone in deep for John Wick yet, but movies like this that have they're action, but they have a twist to them, something different. Like it's set in like a sort of dystopian future where there's this game show that's where they have to kill each other, and it's sponsored by a cereal company. Like that's fucking random as fuck, and I kind of like it. And then just there's the fact that Bill Skarsgård's character is deaf and mute, so he can't really communicate apart from lip reading, and he decided that his inner voice is fucking Bob from Bob's Burgers.
H. John Benjamin.
H. John Benjamin
Or
is
Archer.
the voice of, or Archer, or, the voice of this video game that he played when he was a kid, and it was just, a voice that he remembered and liked. So now that's his voice, basically, in his head when he so that's how he delivers his dialogue. He just looks, Bill Skarsgård just looks weirdly at you, and you hear H. John Benjamin just spouting crazy words. I'm kind of interested in this. Like it looks insane. It sounds insane. I kind of just want to see if the premise lands successfully, really, because it is very out there, and I feel like it could take you out of the movie a bit, or be a bit too much. I don't know. I'm very intrigued. What did you think, Mike?
Out of all the trailers, this is my favorite, and suits me down to the ground. I do like Bill Skarsgård and the way he performs. I mean, yeah, ever since It, it's like his way of acting and expressing himself is great. And this particular role would be quite interesting to portray because you are only emoting through your face, and yeah, it does help when you've got Archer as a as an inner monologue voice, or the can of beans from Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the action is great. The director is like sort of a new up and comer. He's Maurice Muir. He's German, so that's cool. Because the production company is Raimi Productions, and it's Sam Raimi.
Yes, it is a Sam Raimi
So
produced
it has
movie.
the taste of Sam Raimi all throughout, and I am down to clown to watch this unfurl. And yeah, it has a mixture of. It definitely gave me the feel of like if it was a funny Running Man, where this guy is in sort of in a world where no morals is around, and and people are being entertained by people killing each other. Not too far from our own world, where the way things are going. But no politics here.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of looking forward to this because this looks like awesome, dumb, fun, bit of blood. Don't mind a bit of blood, and just action, adventure, and just craziness all in one. So when is this coming out?
Yes. Well, Boy Kills World will be out pretty soon, actually, on the 2nd of May. 2 months.
Just in time for my belated birthday.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. All right, that's Trailer Park done. We're rolling on out now. That means it's now time for a quickie review.
Ooh, do I have the file? I don't think I do. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Quickie review.
Hey.
Alrighty. So, for our quickie review this week, we will be having a brief discussion on this week's episode of The Bad Batch, which was season 3, episode 4. A different approach. Yeah, I really like this one. I thought it was great. Kind of going off what I was saying last week about putting Omega and Crosshair together. We get a whole episode of the two of them trying to get back to Wrecker and Hunter. Yeah, seeing them stranded on this planet after their ship was obviously damaged when they were leaving Tantus. And now they have to kind of figure out how to, get off safely and without being caught. And Omega's just, the purest thing ever in the world. And she's like, I'm not hurting anyone. We're doing this my way. I know I can use, my intellect and my wiles and my, my intuition, and
the Force.
I can, and probably the Force, and just kind of, make sure that we can get out of here. And, it almost works, but then of course the Empire intervene as they want to do, and then they have to try a different approach. Yes, Crosshair has to step in and...
Pretty much. Crosshairs, do your thing.
Can I just say, the way he said, finally, I was like, oh my God, that is a man who has been waiting for his moment. I thought that was brilliant. And it was a good way to end the episode, with a good fight scene. And seeing that jerk off Imperial officer being devoured by some tentacled creature. Like, good, you get what you deserve, you bastard.
You fat bastard.
Yeah, yeah, fat bastard. He was a good antagonist though.
Yeah.
I liked him. I liked him as an antagonist.
Greedy
Yeah,
bastard.
greedy bastard.
Greedy fat bastard.
Greedy fat bastard. But yeah, this planet was just like, everyone's out for money. Everyone's doing it rough. Everyone wants a bribe. Everyone wants cash. Like, they want credits. So yeah. And I'm glad that they were able to, still do all this and manage to keep Batcher safe and get out with her at the end.
Betcha.
And then Batcher. Yeah, and then I just have to, before I throw it to you, Fulya, with your thoughts, I just have to say I cried. I know you guys, but I fucking cried at the end when they were reunited.
Aww.
I actually started tearing up. I was like, oh my god, they're back together. I'm such a fucking sucker.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Oh, it's fine. I know, but I just was like, oh, I'm so invested. And so that was really nice, and I really, really liked that. As happy as their Omega's reunion was with Wrecker and Hunter, they're still not good with Crosshair, and Crosshair's obviously there. But this was just my favorite moment of the whole episode. Just the emotion of that reunion, and then I wish they'd lingered on it longer. But there was a really good shot of two ships at either side, and you had, the three of them at one end, all looking back and seeing Crosshair, and Crosshair's looking at them, and he's alone, and it just kind of, and the music was fucking slapping like usual. It was. Yeah, I just really liked that shot, and then just that moment of oh shit, Crosshair's here. How do we proceed? Yeah. So yeah, I really liked this episode a lot. I thought it was great. So I'm wondering where the story is going to go from here. Are we going to slip back into our, bottle episodes, or are we going to, try and focus on the main story and bring down Hemlock, who just continues to be the worst. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I really liked it. Fulya, what did you think?
Yeah, no, it was a really good episode. Definitely brought up some feels. I actually really enjoyed the scenes where they're trying to figure out a less violent approach into getting through this area from this city that they're in. And Omega's like, no, there's got to be other ways of trying to pass through and find transportation to get out of here. We can't just we can't rely on violence every time when someone is about to try and rob us or do something evil to us. So she's very wholesome in her way of thinking, and I understand. But then she has to resort to gambling in order to gain credits, which was interesting. And I also read somewhere, I think it was brought up, I think it was on an Instagram post through the Star Wars page. They said they actually had to create this game from scratch, and that it and with rules, and that it actually can be played. So don't be surprised if you find this game in store at some point. There is an actual name for it. I can't remember for the life of me. But they really did go out of their way in researching and creating a whole new game, card game, for this particular episode, which was really, really interesting to find out about.
Sold now at Galaxy Edge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was actually really cool. But then obviously that Imperial officer coming in and trying to swindle her. But then it's so frustrating when he's contradicting himself with the laws. He's like, let me see if I can win against you. And then when he doesn't, he's like, you won it fair and square. But now that you've gambled here, gambling's illegal. So now you must pay a fee so that I can look away. Otherwise, we have to take you in. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's playing the system, man.
Oh,
He's playing the system. He rules the city. That's why.
He is the system.
He is the Senate.
I wanted to punch him.
I am above the law.
Oh my gosh. The fact that he figured out that they were the ones who crash landed and all that sort of stuff. And then later on, trying to get whatever money he lost against her back in fines.
Yeah.
I'm like, you asshole.
You fat bastard.
I hate you. So I was very glad about his demise. Very happy. But yeah, so when we got to the ending, that was the reunion that I was anticipating, and I was kind of on the edge of my seat about it because obviously for Omega it was going to be very emotional to be able to reunite with her brothers because she hasn't seen them for a very long time, and neither have they, and they've been trying to, they've been searching for her everywhere in the galaxy, and she's managed to find a way out to then find them. That scene, I didn't cry, but it did bring up some emotion, and I do sort of, I kind of understand how they felt when Crosshair was brought into the mix. That's where I felt tense. That's when I was, was thinking, how this is awkward, man. How do they proceed with this particular reunion because of what happened in the past and what Crosshair has done and said to them, and now that he's back, they don't necessarily know what has changed his mind in helping Omega and then coming back to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is going to be, for the rest of this season, he's going to have to win their trust back somehow. And it's going to be a difficult journey.
Yeah, I think Omega's going to play a part in that too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if they see Omega trusting Crosshair, I mean, it could go two ways. They could be like, oh, well, if the kid trusts him, then, we can trust him. But then, by the same token, Omega believes the best in everyone.
Yes.
Like, even before Crosshair, like, this moment, like, she never gave up hope with him.
Exactly.
I don't think she did anyway.
No.
So, yeah. Who knows? But yeah, you're not wrong. It's going to be a journey for him to get back good again with the boys. So,
but overall, this particular episode was just really nice to see the connection and the the back and forth that Crosshair and Omega had in terms of like, because they both have clashing thoughts and ideas on how to proceed with certain things. Crosshair is on one end of the scale of violence, and Omega's more wholesome and being like, no, let's try and find another way of doing things. So it was just interesting to see those two sort of collaborating together for the end result. But yeah, no, overall it was a great episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for your thoughts. Michael, how did this one go for you?
Yeah, I did enjoy this episode as well. and how from previous episodes that we've seen, it's just we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this so we can actually, because it's the final season, so they're going to get through so many. So if this was any other season, they would actually stretch it out, and they wouldn't have their connection at the end of it. It would be like at the start of the next episode, or later on, or the main, or they wouldn't do this until like roughly in the middle of the season. They're actually like quickly going through this so they can get the actual meat of it, which we still don't know what the end result is going to be and what's going to happen with these characters like moving forward. If these characters end up in the story of the rebels or what have you. And yeah, it's just getting more and more exciting of where they're going to be and how they fit within the expanded Star Wars universe. I like the fact that these two characters, Crosshair and Omega, sort of interacting again, but with their own sort of stories, like intertwined, because we are following like Omega's story because it's more intriguing of what's going to happen to her, and she feels like a Force sensitive clone with a midi-chlorian count of a clone that can actually withhold a midi-chlorian count. So that's ramping up. And also Crosshairs with his sort of fight within himself of a soldier always follows orders, but he's sort of finding out that, well, doesn't mean spit to these people in charge. It's like, well, you're just a grunt on the ground. So, and also there's something to do with he's shaking hands as well. So his abilities are sort of waning as well. So that's going to be another character trait that he's going to combat. Is like, well, my name is Crosshairs. I'm the best marksman within the group or whatever. But if that goes, who am I as a person? So it's still continuing of who he is as a person and where he's going to fit within the world, which is great because you could say his story sort of finished at the end of last season where he decided, no, this is where I am now. I'm defeated and I don't particularly want to live anymore. So maybe this is another notch of saying, well, my abilities are gone. I used to hold so much confidence within the Empire. Well, within the Republic, now the Empire. And now that's gone. Where am I now? Oh, I'm going to reconnect with my brothers again. But there's still going to be something between that as well. And we do see it at the end of this episode, which is very interesting. If they will officially take him back, because you could say it's like, well, Omega does trust you, but we don't trust you, and that's going to be an interesting dynamic to explore. And I'm happy that they're actually doing something of substance within a kids show, which we got to remember. This is for a kids show, and yeah, it's and the story with. The Empire is like collecting all these animals is also another thing of what's happening, because this is like the backwaters of what the Empire. So a lot of things are a lot of order is on the wayside. Like people are more inclined for bribery and hypocrisy as well. And this character. First time I hear him and see him, it's like, oh, you're a bad version of the fat controller from Thomas the Tank Engine, because he had that voice as well. It's like, I can't get Ringo Starr out of my head. It's like Ringo. So you want to play some cards? So that's great, and bit of a shame that he's not going to come back. from this, but good one and done sort of antagonist to our characters. Yeah. So really enjoying this episode. Up there with the continuation of this story, and I can't wait for the conclusion of where things are going.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Well, that's our quickie review on The Bad Batch, episode 4, season 3, the final season, A Different Approach. I'm glad we were all kind of
Omega says
in alignment on that one. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I think we're all pretty excited to see where the story goes. So, yeah, it's gonna be good. Alrighty. Let's get in. Let's prepare. Because it's time.
Let's get into it.
For the moment.
Let's do it.
The segment.
Okay.
It's the air, the water, the fire, the earth. It's time for
popcorn culture.
Well played, Fulya. Well played.
But then the Fire Nation attacked.
Yes. Oh, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've been waiting for it, but I've been waiting for it. It's time for us to discuss and divulge our thoughts on the live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Wrong theme song.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this with you guys and hear your thoughts. So let's just get in with the overall thoughts first. You know what I kind of realized when I was thinking about this yesterday after I finished it, I was like, this is kind of the Cliff Notes version of the original show. Like, this is the broad strokes. Like, if you wanna go deeper on this, then this is a good appetizer. This is a good intro to the world, I think. Because I think it's fine. I wasn't offended by a lot of the changes. Like some, I didn't agree with them all, but for what they presented, compared to what we have gotten in the past, which we don't talk about, and compared to what it could have been in terms of like just being average, I think this is better than what I was expecting. It definitely should have been better, I think, as a whole, because it's definitely flawed, but it's not bad. I think it's okay. I think they did an okay enough job. It's visually very cool. Particularly the bending. Like all the fight scenes were choreographed impeccably. And the way they translated the bending from an animated form into a computer generated animated form was very well done. I really liked that a lot. And then, and just the translation of the world into live action, like the aesthetics were correct, like the costuming was on point, the casting was on point, the performances from the actors were touch and go for some, but on the whole they were pretty good. And yeah, I really hope it gets renewed for a second season, because I want to see the whole thing done, because I feel like it's going to be 3 seasons like the original was. Because they've condensed a lot. Like, because this first season, obviously we'll talk about it, but this first season it's 8 episodes. The original animated series was like 22 episodes first season, So they've cut out a lot. They've condensed a lot. They've combined episodes together, basically, So I feel like this is only going to get 3 seasons if they do get renewed. But yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not offended. Like, it just really felt like I was watching a recap of the show, of the animated show, to me. Like, because I mean, I only watched it like a year or so ago. So because I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this. I remember this. You know. Meanwhile, the friends I was watching with, boy. So I watched
You
the
weren't
first
happy?
three. They weren't. I watched the first 3 episodes, which with 2 diehard fans of the original, and I mean they got through it and they were fine. They weren't like, this is trash, this is awful, I hate this. They were nitpicking it so bad to the point where I didn't ask them to stop, but I literally just said, how about you go watch the original then? Like, the original's still there. It's not going anywhere. And literally, no, not even kidding, I got a message the next day and one of them did. So
Wow.
I was like, all right, cool, good. And then I messaged another friend to be like, oh, what did you think of it? And then he's like, yeah, me and my housemate didn't make it past the first 10 minutes. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, man?
Come on.
And he's like, he's the same as me. He was like, I've only seen it, I only watched it for the first time last year. So he's thinking about going back and watching it. It was his housemate that was the problem. He's a diehard fan.
Okay.
And he did not like it at all. Like, he just
Okay.
he was not sold. They did not do a good job for him.
Okay.
So the vibe I'm getting is that if you're
Very
a
mixed.
diehard, it's very mixed. And if you're a diehard fan of this show, you're not going to enjoy it. I think that's the vibe. Like, because they change a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think they were going to like it regardless.
No, because I mean, how are you going to hit like what the bar that fucking original show hit? Like, how are you going to get that? You're not going to. It's not possible. Like, it's one of the best. It's probably the best animated series ever made. Like, and that's not even just me saying that lightly. Like, it kind of is. So yeah, they were never going to hit that, and that's fine. And I accepted that going in. So maybe that's why I enjoyed it more than my nitpicking friends. Anyway, so those are my overall kind of thoughts where I'm sitting. How about you, Fulya?
So I'm not a die-hard fan, but I really did like watching through that animated series. It had a lot of substance to it. There was a lot of detail, and it just, yeah, like you said, it's like one of the greatest animated TV shows out there.
It really is.
With regards to the Netflix series, I kind of went in with average expectations. Like, I wasn't expecting the best thing ever since the last live action attempt, but I was still just a little hesitant as to what I was going to get, and considering the fact that it was also a very short season of 8 episodes, I was definitely not going to be expecting a lot of detail from the actual series itself, from the cartoons. So,
yeah.
In saying that, I enjoyed it. I really liked some of the moments that came in. I was very excited to see some of the moments that happened in certain episodes. I think I got the most excited when I saw the Kyoshi Warriors.
Yeah, me too.
That had me getting so hyped up and just clapping, and very excited to see them, which is really cool. Like you, I really enjoyed the choreography of the bending, which was really awesome. The fact that they got the actors to actually do the movements, as it were in the show. And I mean, look, the CG of it all may not have been like top tier, but it was still pretty good. It was still pretty good. So I didn't mind that like I could pick out certain things, but overall it was still pretty good. Yeah, the cast, I think, did a great job with their roles that they were given, and I just loved seeing the Cabbage Man.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, my cabbages.
My cabbages.
Gotta do all the
So
memes.
glad.
Gotta do all
Yeah.
the fan favorites.
Yeah, it was
Um,
that and Secret Tunnel.
yeah. Secret tunnel.
Yeah, that
All
was
it,
good.
all it was missing is the guy going absolutely bananas when seeing the Avatar for the first time.
Yeah, 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 that one. Yeah,
That
that's a
guy.
good one. Maybe next season.
I absolutely loved Omashu. That
Yeah,
was pretty amazing in terms of its location, just the aesthetic of it all, of bringing it to life, which was really cool. And yeah, I feel like, I don't know if we come across what's her name, the blind earthbender, I'm forgetting her name. Oh my gosh.
Tough. No, that's next season.
Tough. That's next season, isn't it?
Season
Okay,
2,
that
yeah.
makes sense. Okay, but yeah, no. Overall, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
I loved when it got intense with the Fire Nation. The battle scenes were interesting, but yeah, just I'm happy with it. Let's just put it that way. I'm
Nice.
happy with how
Yeah.
it turned out. Yeah.
Yeah, good. That's
Yeah.
good to hear. Mike, what about you? How did this go, considering you've finished the original most recently out of the three of us?
At 1.5 speed. Like, all of it. Yeah. I went into it with not high hopes because, any adaptation of something fantastic is always going to be somewhat of a nitpicky letdown. So I was prepared for that. I'm still coming to terms if I like it or not. I'm sort of in that sort of crossroads because there's a lot of stuff that there was stuff that I like, but there's also stuff that I really did not like, and some of the choices of change didn't really make sense or sit well with me within it, and we can get into it later on. This is the thing. Unfortunately, you are dealing with child actors, and you can take them with a grain of salt that they're not going to hit those emotional sort of keys, and they try desperately like to get there, but unfortunately, some of the dialogue that Kira was having,
Tara,
sorry, Kira, meh. Katana had some of the dialogues that she had were just exposition, and we're feeling this way. It's like, no, please write better. You can have an emotional state by not saying anything, and I'm sort of a big fan of that. Like, see the turmoil in their faces instead of telling us what we need to feel. Like that, some of the dialogue sort of pisses me off, but you are dealing with like children, and the original had the sort of added bonus of, well, some of these voiceover artists are adult and they can emote a bit more clearly of what is going on, and you can sort of have that sort of feel of gravitas as well as being entertaining at the same time. And that's the sort of difference that I have sort of had trouble with of the original being very playful and being funny and also hitting hard sometimes. And I feel like they were trying to go for the hitting hard all the time. And I mean, I get it. They're children in wartime, so of course they're going to have some sort of existential crisis within that, but not every time. They need to enjoy themselves and having fun. I mean, one of the first things that Aang wanted to do was going sledding when he got unfrozen. None of that here. We sort of get the backstory like straight in, and there wasn't much play. So yeah, I'm still coming to terms. Sort of what clinged me to the feel of this TV show was definitely episode 4. Like there was one particular thing in that I absolutely detest and didn't like, but there was also something that I thought, yes, this is the sort of thing was good and needed a bit more of within that, and we'll get around to it. Yeah. So overall, watch the original show before watching this and go from there. I can't really recommend it, really.
Yeah. It's hard to recommend it when there's a superior product in existence, I suppose. Like you want someone to watch the better thing, you know, and because it's this pretty much the same story.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's certain things that are altered, but it's the same. Yeah, it's the same story at the end of the day. Yeah, well, I don't know where. I mean, I guess you just touched on it. Like the fact that this show is definitely going down the darker Netflix adaptation route, which I find really interesting that they've done that. Considering a lot of people, you know, one of the criticisms of the M. Night Shyamalan adaptation was that went a bit dark. There wasn't a lot of fun and a lot of life in it. And mostly because, you know, soccer wasn't soccer. So there's that. And in this adaptation, I think he's obviously he's not like the original soccer either, but he's pretty close.
Yeah.
Like he's pretty close. He's having a good time. Like that moment in fucking well, I think it was an episode. It was episode 3 or episode 4. I think it was episode 3 when they're in Omashu and him and Katara are arguing, and then like she makes that line. She says that line about how like you're such a jerk, and he just goes, "Yeah, I know. I don't need to prove that," or whatever he says. I fucking the way he delivered that.
Yeah.
Was just spot on. I really like that. I think yeah, in terms of like all of the let's say the protagonists of the show, the good guys, Sokka's definitely the best in terms of the adaptation, I would say.
Yeah.
And probably the best performer of at least Team Avatar, I would say as well. But that's okay. But yeah, it is interesting that they decided to go down sort of a darker route, but they are still trying to have their cake and eat it too a bit, like, because we do get a bit of levity in certain episodes, you know. There's light moments throughout, there's comedic moments throughout that generally work pretty well. So I'm just wondering why they couldn't find a way to balance it more often. Like, why did a lot of the stuff that got cut seem to be a lot of the, you know, the lighthearted stuff, the stuff where we see Aang actually being a 12-year-old. We don't really get. I think that's my main criticism of Aang, is that he's probably a bit too. I don't know. He's a bit too serious, I think.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have that childlike nature to him. He definitely feels more like I don't know, like it's like he's aware of the fact that he's 100 years old, even though he technically isn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he realizes he has to be the Avatar. You know, there's not they kind of approach his journey to understanding what he has to be versus what he wants to be. They kind of do that a bit different here than they do it in the animated show. And I guess their decision to take out a lot of the childlike fun stuff from the kids show kind of means you take away from Aang's development, I think, because I don't think he has huge amount of development in this first season. I don't know. What did you make of Aang Fulia specifically?
Oh, he was a little up and down for me. There were moments where I really enjoyed his, you know, the lines that he had and all that sort of stuff, and just the mannerisms of him being this kid that just wants to have fun with his friends. But then it immediately turns to everybody, like this kid that's got so much pressure on him to be the Avatar that he has to be mature now. Like it just does like a 180 pretty quickly within the episodes when he's trying to act like a child, but then all of a sudden, nope, I have to be the Avatar now. So it does get a little jarring when that happens between each episode, and I'm not sure if that's I don't think it's the actor's fault if he's just going by what's been written in the script. So I feel like the writing might have been the bit of an issue here.
Yeah.
For that character. So in terms of their interpretation of the character, I suppose, from the cartoon. Yeah, so I can see where they're trying to go with him. But it's just a little bit hard to have a liking towards him when he keeps changing his tone, you know?
Yeah, and one thing I just kind of realized, so obviously the ending where he, lets the ocean spirit come into him and he becomes, water kaiju. I remember watching that in the original and going and like feeling my stomach drop, being like, holy fuck, like this kid is basically sacrificing himself so the sea can have its revenge. And it's so powerful. And I think part of the reason it's so powerful in the original series is because Aang is a kid. And you see him being a kid. And it's such a contrast from him being like so playful and fun and friendly and laughing and goofing off and all of that stuff, along with being the Avatar. But then you just have all of that gone. And then you have him as this thing, essentially, and he's in Avatar state. He's not aware really of what's going on and all this stuff. And it's so gut wrenching because you think he's never going to be free of it or whatever. It works in the live action, but it definitely doesn't hit the same.
There was no legwork to get to that stage.
Yeah, it didn't feel as like there was a really good shot when there was a really good aerial shot where the wave just fucking annihilated all the Fire Nation ships like that, and that was sick. It looked amazing, but it didn't have the same emotional. Even with Katara pleading with him to be like, "Come on, Aang, you can come back. It's okay. Blah blah blah. Don't give up yourself and all this stuff." Like even with that, it just didn't. Yeah, it just didn't hit the way they wanted it to, I don't think. And that's because they sacrificed that essential part of his character, I think. Yeah. Mike, do you have any thoughts, frustrations, about Aang, anything to add?
Plenty. With the story of Aang, basically the same. It was an interesting choice that they changed the motive of him leaving the air temple as well. He just learnt that he was the Avatar, and in the cartoon, he left because he didn't want to be the Avatar. He just wanted to be a kid, and that was the thing that sort of holds him back of being the Avatar. He wanted to be a kid. He didn't want to have that responsibility, and that turmoil went throughout the entire thing until the last episode of the season, where he goes, okay, the Avatar state is sort of dangerous for me, and I don't know if I'm going to come out of it, because he gets scared of actually becoming the Avatar. Where in the live action, he leaves just to clear his head, and just all of a sudden, oh no, there's a storm, and I under this circumstances, I miss everything. And with that, they change a lot of other characters' motives as well, where there is a lot of finger pointing and finger wagging. It's like, well, you left us to suffer, and those characters is like, yeah, I sort of get it with Katashi warriors, especially
Kyoshi
warriors, and definitely with Kyoshi is like pretty much accosting this kid. It's like, okay, you're supposed to help. This isn't really helping. And then we get the cool action scenes with her. But they do the same thing with other characters. Like, I'm not sure if I should get into this or not, but there's one character that they put the same thing, the same motive of you left us to suffer. What was Boomy. Like Boomy's character is completely different, and which is a shame because I actually quite like Boomy's character. Like this wily old crazy old guy was actually showing that he was a survivor. It's like, yeah, I might be old, but I'm still young at heart, and it actually shows Aang there's I can have this responsibility and still be like childish at the same time. And he actually shows that his best friend from all those is still his best friend now after 100 years, and he can still be the Avatar as well as being himself. But they don't do this here, and that's why I didn't like what they did with Boomy and the sort of motives that he had for this. And that's why I think they should have let Aang be a child. Like, he did one mistake and that cost him that. Like, he didn't want to be the Avatar, so he escaped. And then you can justify having these characters like going down and not going down on him, like looking down on him and actually pointing the fingers. It's like, you are quintessentially saying you should have been the Avatar. You should have been here. It's like, I know I should have been here, but I didn't want to be Avatar. And then you can still have that sort of conflict that he has until the end of the season, and then he discovered, I can be the Avatar and also let go at the same time. It's just method acting. I can still be who I am, and he doesn't learn, and he doesn't learn that, and that's the biggest gripe that I have with Aang's character, like all through this, and
it's a big change, and I feel like it has to do with part of the reason the original showrunners left. Because it's like bringing it back down to the beginning, like in his origins, like it really just feels like they've altered his character quite a bit.
Yeah.
And before we move on from Aang, I just wanted to say another thing I didn't like about him was that he doesn't get taught waterbending this season at all. Like by the end of book 1, he knows how to waterbend. So I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for Katara to sort of start showing him how to do it, and then it never happened. And then to top it off, then I feel like they kind of didn't really do a great job of showing Katara's development as a bender, because she just like every time she used her powers, we saw as it went through, she was just better and better each time.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they spent a lot of time focusing on her journey as a bender.
A lot of off screen, sort of like, I can do this now. I can manipulate ice.
Yeah.
It's like, cool.
Yeah, the ice thing, that was the biggest shock. They were just like, she can do
tell.
She can do the ice now. Oh, okay. Great. I don't know. It was I don't know. It's not the end of the world. Like it didn't annoy me to the point where I'm like, oh, I hate this, but I was just like, oh, there's just bits missing,
I think it was their way of trying to cut corners, I suppose. Like, all right,
Well, yeah,
short,
that's
it's a
it.
short season. We want to get as much of it into it as we can. So let's just pretend like she already knows this and just
Yeah,
keep
well,
going.
that's what I
And
mean. Like,
it does feel a bit off that we don't actually see that development like we did in the actual cartoon.
Bad for
Yeah,
storytelling,
you're
great
right.
for narrative-driven sort of. Let's get to the actual meat of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was more like, let's get to the plot. Let's just go.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't really spend. Yeah, we don't get the. They don't get the same kind of growth. Yeah, a lot of the characters in this. But if we can switch gears for a second and talk about our antagonists, antagonists. My favorite thing, apart from soccer, was seeing Zuko and Iroh and Ozai and Zhao. Like, the Fire Nation was where it was. That's where it was at, I think.
Yeah.
Even Azula, like, the fact that they brought Azula forward
Yeah.
into the first season was a very interesting decision, and I think it works enough. I think it works. I think it works enough. So it makes me curious to see what their season 2 plans are. But, because now we've got a bit of her development already. So that's interesting. But I think for what the time that they had to deal with, the incredible journey that Zuko goes on, I think they did a pretty good job. He had the most development. He had the most depth to him. I feel like, again, it's like, well, yeah, obviously they did it better in the animated show, because I feel like we got a better understanding of him. I think we had too much sympathy for him too early in this.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I feel. It's not that bad. It's fine. You still get his journey from, being, this outcasted prince who's, he needs to find the Avatar, and or the relationship with his family and, and all of that stuff. Like,
This is my destiny.
Still works.
This is my motivation.
Yeah, it still works. But yeah, like, it wasn't perfect, but it was the best that they could do. So I'm curious to see, like, season 2, Zuko gets even more growth. So, and again. So it's going to be really interesting if they get renewed for, another season, what they'll do with him. But
my bet is season 2 is they're just going to combine book 2 and 3.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what the plan is at this point. But no, I enjoyed Zuko. I enjoyed Iroh so much. I think he did a great. Carson Teva, I thought he did a great job. I really liked his performance a lot. He definitely was cast very well. Okay. I know we're talking about them cutting out things and editing things, but they kind of butchered the whole thing with his son a little bit, just a little bit. But I still got the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
Same.
Like, I still cried.
Yeah.
Like, showing the funeral and having Zuko, pre Agni Kai, fucking, being all, I feel, I'm sorry for you, uncle, and all this stuff. Like, that it still hit, which I was like, well done. Like, because that episode in the animated series, when you see, you get Iroh's backstory and you find out about his son and all that, it's an incredible episode. So the fact that they didn't do it exactly the same and it still worked, I was impressed. I will say, I was very impressed. Fulya, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go on, Mike.
That's right. I'll wait until my turn.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Fulya, your thoughts on Zuko, Iroh, the Fire Nation storylines? What did you think?
Honestly, I feel like they're the best part of the show.
They are, right?
They really are, which is weird to say because they're supposed to be the antagonists of the story.
Yeah.
I love the I love the connection that Zuko has with Iroh in
Yes.
animated series, and here in this live action, it's pretty much almost the same. And I love the fact that Paul Lee is doing such an amazing job as
Yeah.
Iroh.
He's
Like
doing great.
oh my goodness, he is killing it. I want to like just give him his freaking due.
Yeah.
He is doing such an amazing job as Iroh. I feel like he's done a lot of research for this particular role, and he is doing an amazing job. So big kudos to him. Loving his work with this. Yeah, the Fire Nation's just got like they're intense. You feel it, it comes through, and I'm really enjoying it. For whatever reason it is, I am more towards the Fire Nation story than I am everyone else. And that's saying something. So Prince Zuko is still good. His hot-headedness, his the fact that he's more fight than he is, talk. He yeah, I don't know, like Dallas Liu is doing a great job as well.
Yeah, he is.
In the role. And yeah, the backstory stuff as well, learning about where he ended up with the burn on his eye and all that sort of thing. And it was that heartbreaking. My gosh, that episode almost like it really, really hurt. And yeah, the Daniel Day Kim, dude.
Oh, he's crushing it as fucking Ozai.
Oh my gosh, freaking Ozai, man. He is the Fire Lord. And it shows. It is like I don't know what it is. I'm a bit speechless about the Fire Nation for some reason.
I love it.
It's really hard for me to just describe how I feel about them, but I'm actually okay with how this is all turning out in the live action. And just the intensity of it all, I was a little confused as to why Azula came in so early into it all.
Yeah.
And the fact that the whole revelation of trying to get her jealous about her brother so that she would be the one to lead the army to victory. Whereas, and then all of a sudden Zuko gets told about this in that same season. I'm just like, this has gotten like they've gotten to that plot point real quick. Because I felt like it took a little bit longer in the actual animated series, to be honest. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. But look, Azula's cool. She's very, she's always very angry that, her brother's always getting all of the, not necessarily the praise, but he's always getting told that she's second best to him or whatever.
Second child syndrome.
Yeah, and the fact that she can't go anywhere and lead because apparently she thinks it's a gender thing, but it's not necessarily. So, so that was interesting. But yeah, no, Fire Nation, fuck, they're killing it. They're amazing.
They are absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
Mike, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, this was probably the best part of exploring their story along with Aang's, with the team Avatar. Coincidentally, I think they may have shot themselves in the foot for doing that, because they definitely lost a lot of like leeway of doing that. Like, I appreciate all the stuff of like looking back and seeing what happens, but it doesn't really help with the story that's moving forward. There's a lot of flashback sort of stuff. Tensa does, it just screeches the story to a halt. It's like, we need to explain about this so we can understand what's happening now. And having said that, maybe it would have been easier to, I don't know, maybe do a season about the Fire Nation, like at the start, and just instead of having book 1, book 2, because everyone knows those books from the TV show, maybe call it the Book of Fire, and that's the first season, and we get to learn about that, and then at the end of the season, Aang is thawed from the ice, and then you can do the Avatar story and go on to there, and then you can interchange from what's been happening. Maybe that would be a more interesting way, and you can actually keep more like story within it. Zuko and Iroh's relationship was the best thing in this. Like, I definitely did cry, especially when those bastards use wings on the vine. How dare they? And just Iroh just not talking and just being stoic and just glassy eyed, and it's like, yeah, it just broke me. But it was actually beneficial for Zuko as well. You actually saw, Iroh saw the sort of nugget of what Zuko would be able to do, like having sort of remorse, like all throughout that like funeral. They were talking about his son. It's like, oh, he died as a hero for the Fire Nation. It was all for the Fire Nation. And it was Zuko who says, well, it started off saying, yes, your son died for this Fire Nation. Then came back and actually say, well, this is my story from what I remember, and this is him. And so Iroh decided, like then and there, pretty much saying, I need to look after this kid. Like, I know my brother's like a real piece of shit, so I need to like bestow on him my teachings and be the father figure that he actually needs, and that's why he decided to go with him, really, just to keep an eye on him, because because Zuko does have a good heart, even though you don't necessarily see that in the original series, until we actually get to a certain point where they explain like the backstory of him. We just see him as like, oh, this is the bad guy because, you know, he's got a burn mark, so that means, you know,
and he's got a temper.
Yeah, he's got a temper. You know, James Bond rules, where if you have a deformity, you are the bad guy until you work out it's like, oh, he has a deeper story, a deeper connection with the Avatar. And they sort of, I don't know. It's a sort of, I can understand that they want to do something different, like they wanted to get that story out there so you can actually watch these parallel stories go on, but you're sort of losing something that can be told in later half instead of your introduction to a character. It's like, oh, this must be the bad guy, and until you say, oh, the character's more deep. It's more it's less 2-dimensional and more 3D, and having the Fire Nation more prominent in the story, great. We don't see Azula until the second season, and we don't see the Fire Lord until the third season, because we only hear glimpses of, oh, what is this guy? And I did like the fact that it was sort of a family story within the Fire Nation, of like a father having pretty much picking favorites of his 2 children and which one should come out on top. I mean, that's like a family drama, as well as Iroh is like, well, this is my only son and I've lost him, so I can't do anything now. And and that story is more compelling than we get with the Avatar, and that's the problem that you have, like retelling of a story that's not that engaging, except for the protagonists, and yeah.
Cool. One thing I just wanted to mention that kind of irritated me, and then I'll follow it with one thing that I did like.
Yeah. Sorry, having said that, the episode 4 with the boomy stuff was also coinciding with Iroh's like backstory, and I did like that scene between him and the Earth Guard. How he's sort of saying, "Well, you are the butcher, and you quintessentially killed my brother," and that scene was good. Like that sort of insert was good, and I was hoping for a bit more of that because that was more compelling than what we got.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. So there was one change that kind of, excuse me, I didn't love. And I don't know if it's because like she's my favorite character in the original, but I really love Suki. I think she's great, and I love the Kyoshi Warriors. I think they're fantastic, and I love their whole look, their whole vibe, their whole way of life. I think they're badass. And Suki's really, really great, and I think they kind of altered her a bit too much here. I don't know if you guys feel the same about it, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember from the original, she wasn't really like instantly making hard eyes at Sokka, was she, in the original, right?
No.
They didn't hit it off. Yes. And I don't know why they removed that, because I feel like that's part of what makes Suki really cool and really interesting, and a challenge for Sokka, because he is this young woman who's this fearsome warrior, and she's beautiful and she's all this, but in the live action interpretation she's all of that, but every time she's around Sokka she's kind of making hard eyes at him.
She turns all gooey.
And I mean, yeah, fine. That's fine. But not... I don't know.
Have a theory on that.
Okay, what's your theory?
Because there isn't a lot of time for personal growth, they decided for Sokka that one thing he needs to learn, and that's to be a leader. Like all throughout, it's him learning to be a leader. That's why he has that sort of flashback with his father. So they decided to go down that route instead of him, being a misogynistic piece of shit, and actually learning from that. So I think they decided, well, we don't need to do that because it doesn't really go anywhere. It's like it sort of happens within like 1 or 2 episodes in the original series, and that's basically it. But having the decision of getting rid of that sort of doesn't really make sense with the Soki sort of love connection by the end. I mean, they sort of fall for each other like midway through the entire season, entire story, instead of like right when it's fresh hot when they see each other. It's like, aha, we're supposed to be together because it's everyone knows that we get together.
Yeah, and like we know that they end up together and all of this, and that's fine. But I just wish they had have like not reduced Suki to, being all swoon worthy over Sokka. I feel like, I don't know, they just kind of ruined her a little bit in that way. But that said, otherwise she was fine. And I really enjoyed like the fight scenes with her and Sokka together when they were like, moving around each other and like using each other to like do their thing. I thought it was really cool.
She has an awesome makeup remove routine. Gone.
It pissed me off.
Oh, we're attacking. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't. That was. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. It's stupid. Anywho. And then one thing I wanted to touch on before I throw to you guys. That I really kind of liked. But I feel like they probably did it better in the original anyway. But that's everything about this. Basically, no. The way that the episode in the spirit world, when you had the three of them in there and they're off in their separate spots dealing with their own trauma, like that stuff. That I think they did a good job with that stuff. That's probably the most depth we really got in terms of Team Avatar. So that was good. And then I really loved the visual adaptation of Cow.
Huh?
Cow?
Cow.
I thought it was pronounced Co.
So
it's spelled K-O-H.
I think it's supposed to be the Japanese word for face. Because he steals faces.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And he's voiced by George Takei. It
was voiced by George Takei, which was cool.
So the Japanese word for face is kao. So, but the way that they're pronouncing it sounds like it's ko.
Yeah, that's why I Americanized it. Sorry, Fulya.
It's like the M. Night Shyamalan. Instead of saying Avatar, they're saying Avatar.
Avatar.
No, they're calling him Ang instead of Ang.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
No. Anyway, I liked the face monster.
Yes.
He was sufficiently creepy. With the faces and everything, and
I don't like a close-up orifice, please.
Yeah.
With sound.
But yeah, I thought that stuff was cool as well.
Great title for the episode too. Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, yeah, I know, yeah.
I get it.
At the start of that episode though, I actually thought, and it's funny because they did it the next episode, but they called it Spirited Away, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get the blue spirit, and then no, we're going into the spirit world and we're doing that, and then the next episode we get the blue spirit. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, fair enough.
Honestly, Ko was very creepy.
Yes.
How did you go?
I was watching it. I'm like, like this, which meant they did a good job with the actual creatures.
And how'd you go, Kendall? Because it was all spidery.
Yeah. No, it was because it wasn't like super spidery apart from like the webs and stuff. I just thought it looked cool. Like it was just a really creepy creature. Like this giant, like centipede worm thing that just can change faces and look like it was very reminiscent of like Japanese horror. And I love Japanese horror, so I really liked that. I thought that was good. Yeah. And then before I throw over to Fulya, I shout out Princess Yi Wei. I thought she was great. I really liked her. I think they did a good job. With her.
Yeah, I did like that aspect.
Yeah, I think the only nitpick I would have is the fact that and they do it in the animated series too, I think. They just gloss over Sokka and Suki. And then now you have Sokka and Yue, and it's fine. Don't even worry about it.
Come on, Sokka's got to get some notches in his belt.
He's got to get some notches in his belt. Fulya, as we begin to wrap up, what are some other things you wanted to talk about that you liked or maybe you didn't like?
Honestly, I think I've pretty much just mentioned a lot of the things I've already liked, and I will say, I think I'll just reiterate the fact that just the scenery of each of these places that we visited look really great. They look
Yeah, very
amazing.
cool.
The locations for, just their, even just an establishing shot of each of the places that like they visited. Omashu, the Kyoshi Island, just wherever they went, the scenery was just amazing. I really loved them. Even when they were going into the spirit world, that was also really cool. Little trippy at times, but overall, I actually really enjoyed Spirited Away, to be honest, because it was interesting that not only was Aang in there, but then all of a sudden, Sokka and Katara went with him. And it's like, you two aren't supposed to be here. It's not good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need to put more stuff from different episodes. Just chuck them all into one, including add stuff for Sokka to justify his needs to be a leader sort of thing.
Yeah. So I really did enjoy that. I didn't mind the scenes where once they get to the Northern Water Tribe. That was actually really cool to see all that. But then the whole idea of that the waterbenders that would go to battle were only male and the healers were the females, and I'm just like, okay, cool. Obviously, I'm saying this as if I've never watched the animated series. My brain doesn't like to remember things, so I don't know what I'm remembering.
Yeah, that was in the cartoon.
That was in there? Okay. All right.
Because then Sokka turns around and is like, well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Because he learned not to be a misogynistic dickhead.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
So the Northern Water Tribe stuff was interesting because I feel like after spending all that time traveling, the most time was then spent at the Northern Water Tribe for the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just say, what was his name? Commander Zhao. Bloody. Ken Liang does a great Zhao. He's just
he was awesome.
Conniving and sly and very sneaky son of a bitch. I love to hate him, pretty much. Is what came across for me in this particular live action. So Ken Liang's done an amazing job portraying that character. So kudos to him as well. But yeah, just I think overall, and that massive battle scene with the water spirit, where Aang's in his avatar state, the fact that they had to find a way to get the yin and yang back, was kind of interesting as well. Yeah, just I think, I don't know, like I can't really pick out the things that I didn't like because I'm not remembering the animated series as well as I would like to be able to nitpick.
No, that's okay.
And so because of that, this whole watch through of this live action for me has been as if I'm watching it with fresh eyes, that I've like as if I never saw the animated series. But I still remember certain characters and certain plot points from the animated series, so that when it popped up here, I was connecting with it. So I think my overall favorite, like from this particular series or from this season, was definitely Kyoshi Island with the Kyoshi Warriors. That was one of my favorites. And then I think the other one was Omashu, just in general, just this aesthetic with the earth slides, along the top of the walls. That was cool. To see that in live action as well. Can we also just mention Appa and Momo?
No, not really.
Oh yeah.
They were. You know what? I'm so happy they were done well in terms of their CG, because my gosh, I was worried that they were going to turn out to be really hideous.
But they didn't really do much, did they?
No, they definitely were relegated to the back of the whole thing. But I did that moment where in the last episode where Momo, like, almost sacrificed himself. I nearly started crying. I'm like,
yes, same. And then because of the fact that you know that soccer initially started off with he didn't really like Momo.
No.
And then by the end of it, he's like, "No, don't you dare die on me."
I know, and the way he was like when he came back and he's like holding him, I'm just
oh my god, broke my heart.
I know.
But
very well done.
That relationship was fake because they didn't really have much interaction with the actual live.
No,
yeah, you don't really get to see it much, which is
You're
kind
not
of
thinking fourth dimensionally.
Yeah, it disappointed me that we didn't get to see much of that relationship sort of be.
They probably could have done
expanded
10. They probably could have done 10 episodes, I think.
Honestly, yeah. I feel like that if they had have done 10 episodes, they may have been able to fit in a lot of the plot points that we were kind of missing from the 8 that we got. So, I don't know. Yeah.
I think they only put in the Momo fake death out because he didn't do anything. Otherwise, why would you include him?
I mean, apart from still food.
Yeah. Comic relief. Well, you got soccer for that.
Yeah.
But if he wasn't in there, people were right. You need Momo.
Yes.
Momo must be there.
Momo must be there.
And Momo in Japanese is peach.
Ah.
Yeah. That's why you meet him in the peach tree.
Hey. Influences.
Cute. All right, Mike, take us home. Anything else you wanted to bring up, get off your chest, praise?
The MacGuffin of they need a special spirit dagger to kill a spirit. It's convoluted and stupid. It's but it needs to be at a certain time where these spirits are sort of out of the spirit world and actually entered our world for one night only. Is like stop making it more convoluted than it actually is, please. Don't need to do that. Anyway, it's over. Will this get a second season? If they're lucky.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't want them to screw up Toph.
No, true.
She's my favorite. Little rat bag.
Little rat bag.
Little
yeah, we
barefoot
love Toph.
rat
Yeah.
bag.
Honestly, I will say, you did, and you've already mentioned this, Kendall, but the fact that I was always anticipating, like, for Aang to start learning his waterbending, and it never happened, and I just kept waiting and waiting, and then even by the last episode, I was like, so you're gonna wait until second season to start learning that? And I bet you if the second season does get greenlit and it does get released, I think they're gonna gloss over the fact of his journey of learning the waterbending, and they're just gonna be like, all right, we're at the middle stage of him learning how to waterbend. This is as far as he's gotten so far.
It's gonna be mostly off screen. It's gonna be like, we're gonna come in and you'll see Katara and Aang doing the water bending, and you can see that Aang is like almost at her level.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's,
That's
very good point.
That's the reason why him just leaving because he needed to clear his head is so stupid. If he was having the struggle of not wanting to be not having the responsibility of being the Avatar, then you could make the excuse of why he didn't want to learn waterbending, like from anyone, and actually forcing himself to go to the North. It would make sense, but it doesn't make sense. Doesn't
make sense.
because he knows the responsibility, because he's been told by so many people that he needs that responsibility. Okay, I need to learn waterbending. Who do I know that knows waterbending or is learning to waterbend? Who is that? Oh, the person that I'm traveling with.
Yeah, see, that's what I didn't get, like, because there's a specific scene, and I can't remember if it's in Kyoshi Island or in Amashu, but someone points out, like, you're the Avatar, and then he's like, yeah, but I can't bend all 4 elements yet. I'm still, I can only do air, and then the backlash he kind of gets from that is a bit, harsh, but it doesn't motivate him to go to Katara and be like, I need you to show me how to waterbend. It felt pointless to me, and like, why would you set it up for that and then not do that?
And then you can build that relationship, which coincidentally I don't think should work anyway between Aang and Katara.
Katara.
But it is what it is. But then you can sort of retroactively, like, putting in that sort of little seeds of them sort of falling for each other and not falling for each other. But no, they're not going to do that, because we got some Fire Nation to go back to, which is more interesting.
Yes,
Convoluted
indeed
and
it is.
stupid.
Yes. Cool. Well, I think that might do it.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm done.
Wow, what an epic discussion.
That was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys did too.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice to get that off the chest. Cool. Well, that was Popcorn Culture. Our thoughts on Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live-action adaptation. By Netflix, the first season. Probably fair to say that One Piece is winning in the Netflix anime adaptation game. Not that there is one.
One Piece is a monogamy.
An anomaly.
An anomaly.
Radioactive. Retroactive.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
It's a radioactive monogamy. Yeah.
Radioactive. Retroactive. Oh dear.
All right, it's time for bed.
Yes.
So let's get the hell out of here, shall we? A 1, a 2, a 3,
and
that
was
a podcast
called
Friend.
Remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for the latest Fred content.
If you like to listen to Fred the Alien, you can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
If you'd like to watch Fred the Alien, you can head